Last month, I participated in an online weekly painting challenge hosted by Opus Art Supplies, and they were giving away a bunch of draw prizes, and I happened to win a set of Golden Open acrylic paint. I'd never tried these paints before, and the basic rundown on these is that they are an acrylic paint that already contains a lot of extra slow drying medium to extend the time that you could use the paint to blend and stuff like that. I wasn't really expecting too much from these because I'm not really an acrylic painter, so it's not going to be anything masterpiece coming out of this video. Yeah, so apparently you're only supposed to use very thin layers of this paint, and it comes with a little bottle of diluting fluid because diluting the paint with water will shorten the drying time, I guess. I started in my sketchbook because I just wanted to get a feel of how it worked before I actually made something with it. It's kind of transparent, and I don't know, it has been a while since I've used like a regular acrylic paint to do anything outside of the Liquitex acrylic washes, which are really just an acrylic paint that dries matte. And these just feel really like different. It has a really sticky feeling to it. It stays wet for what feels like forever. It's not quite like oil and that you have to wait a really long time between layers or anything like that. I probably spent at least 2 hours total playing with this paint, and I'm so used to using these tiny little droplets on my palette, and that's the thing that I dislike the most about acrylic paint, apart from the fact that I find it just harder to use generally. But the color mixing makes me crazy because I will mix a little bit and then I won't have enough, and then I'll have to mix it again. I have to keep opening bottles and putting more, and paint puddles on the palette always dry up really quickly, and so I get lots of lumps, and I'm always wasting some amount. Like no matter how small I use, like a lot of it will dry up and have to be tossed. Like I said, I must have spent 2 hours playing with this paint, and at the end of it the paint was still wet. Like I didn't have, even the edges like weren't really crusting over. They say that you can put it in a little Ziploc container and keep your color mixes for over a week, which is pretty wild. So I really liked it. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. So I used it to make this landscape because it's a landscape set. The thing that I enjoyed the most was working on the sky. The colors just blended very nicely, and they stay wet for a long time, so I kept adding more colors. The only thing that I noticed is that you have to be careful with the little diluting gel. If I diluted a color and then applied it to a part of the mountain that I was working on, it definitely diluted the paint that was already on the panel and caused little holes that I had to cover over later, because that is another known feature, I guess, of the paint, is that it dries but it doesn't grip right away. It takes longer to actually cling to the support you're painting on, so that later on when your paint appears to be dry, you can apply more water to it and brush it away to remove color. I would just have to be careful not to do it by accident like I keep doing in this painting. I'm just working from a photograph I took when I was taking reference photos in Vancouver for Patreon a long time ago. And yeah, after the sky I kind of rushed it because I don't really like acrylic painting. But yeah, that's kind of all I did with it. I added a little bongo cat at the end for my personal enjoyment. I don't know what I'm going to do with this painting. But yeah, it looks kind of like oil paint. The only thing that I didn't really like about this particular set that I won is that I don't like the reds that it included. They're both very limiting to what colors you can mix with them. Like one of them is way too yellow and the other one is yellow and desaturated, so there's no like pure reds to mix with anything else. So it also doesn't have too many dark colors. It's still kind of hard to build contrast without at least a really deep something, you know? So thank you for watching this video. If you have used these paints and have some cool tips and techniques that the rest of us might not know about, please feel free to share them in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe. I make new art related videos every Thursday.